Fraud is absolutely a people issue. Anytime you have something of value, there is bound to be a person who is willing to tell you a lie to come between you and that thing of value. And at its simplest nature, fraud is about dishonest deprivation. Fraud issues are always unexpected and unwanted events inside of any business. The perpetrators of fraud are always trusted individuals. If you didn't trust them, they wouldn't be in your business in the first place. They've been there for an extended period of time. They've built the trust of those around them. They've worked their way into a position of authority and control that enables them to allow a fraud to happen. That's often the worst thing. The financial impact is rarely the big issue for businesses that are the victims of fraud. It comes down to that breach of trust, damage to the relationships, impact on the reputation, and in some cases legal risks. We see the drivers of fraud change depending on the economic cycles. In good times, there's a large volume of transactions going through. There's a lot of money to be made. There's a lot of money being spent on real estate and construction projects. That creates an opportunity for dishonest people to slip in a transaction or two that should not be there. In tough times, people are trying to keep their head above water. It's driven more by need than greed, perhaps, but nevertheless, we see opportunities and instances of fraud continuing in any environment. Most organizations are reluctant to admit that they have a fraud problem. They like the people they work with, they do business with. They think that it's not an issue that's going to impact them. There's also a concern about spending time and money on preventing an issue that you don't think you're going to have. I think it's great to communicate to employees your commitment to fighting fraud and supporting an ethical workplace. And by letting your employees know that, you're putting the dishonest ones on notice, and more importantly, you're confirming to the ethical employees that you share their system of values. That helps you keep the best people. Fraud risk management has to be an ongoing process. It can't be a one-time event. Sometimes it's triggered by a business acquisition or change in ownership or a specific fraud occurrence that gets management paying attention. The risks of fraud are ever changing as you get into new economic cycles, you get into new lines of business, you add new business partners and employees. It has to be continually considered and evaluated and updated against the rest of your business operations. Studies have shown time again that having a robust fraud risk management strategy that includes steps for prevention, detection, investigation, remediation is your best approach. It reduces the likelihood of being impacted by fraud. When fraud does occur inside your business, it's detected sooner, which reduces the losses, and it demonstrates to your employees and shareholders that you care about the ethics of your business. My number one advice to real estate and construction companies: acknowledge that fraud can happen to you and be prepared for when it does.